to the beat end. Scored like 10 on my IQ test.
Niggas don't understand how the fuck a bitch gonna see out on the spot with no love for the block. This is how it's done, nigga. I got love for the block 9 times for the block, nigga, yeah.
I guess it started when the lights went out and everybody started running around in circles trying to figure it out. I could feel it wedged in my ribs, it felt freezing.
My head aches and feels the blunt vice grips hanging over my tequila sunglasses. Confide and write this to describe a love life that's feeling love lifeless.
I went from hospitals to funerals to graveyards, from Hell's Kitchen like Mel Gibson to Braveheart. I went from their yard to my yard. I went from having light scars to bullet wounds, tight cars and silver spoons.
Hello everyone. In this video I'll be highlighting 10 rap albums that I feel are severely underrated and deserve way more recognition than they currently get. Now I love all of these albums equally, and where they're placed on this list is not an indication of their level of quality amongst one another. This is just a generalized list that is meant to cover 10 titles in this specific category. With that being said, let's get started. Number 10. Brother Lynch Hung, Suicide Note. Released in June of 2003, this album isn't just one of Brother Lynch's best in his entire discography, but it's a fucking West Coast classic in general. When people talk about Brother Lynch, they're usually discussing Season of the Sickness or 24 Deep, and for good reason. Those albums are masterpieces, but no one ever seems to mention Suicide Note, even though it's every bit as good as those albums, in my opinion. And I remember buying this at Best Buy back in 2007, going home and smoking a fat-ass blunt with my friends and being blown away by the production and Lynch's vocal delivery and flow. Top-tier West Coast motherfucking hip-hop classic. Standout tracks include I Went From, Water, Any Given Friday, and so many others. This album is a classic through and through that deserves way more recognition than it gets. Number 9. Smoov-E, Long Duck Dong. Released in 2005, this is the 5th album from Bay Area rapper Smoov-E. This album is a classic. Now when I first heard this, I was like, oh, it's like Too Short, but 100 times better. Usually this kind of over-sexualized subject matter isn't particularly my cup of tea at all. Like I could completely do without it. But Smoov-E is the exception. This album has some amazing production and mixing from Brian Batusing, and each song flows perfectly into the next, with additional features from rappers Doobie aka Sugar Wolf, Count Salas, Equipto, Reek Daddy, First Degree to DE, and the legendary Andre Nicotina, and a few others. I really enjoy every song on this album very much, and I don't think it really has any weak points. A solid body of work in my opinion. Also, on a side note, the album cover is paying homage to the album Alone with Dion, released in 1961 by Dion DiMucci, best known for his work in the 1950s doo-wop group Dion and the Belmonts, whom Smoov-E and myself both grew up listening to. A real solid body of work. Number 8. Bone Enterprise, Faces of Death. Released in May of 1993, this was the debut album of legendary Midwest hip-hop group Bone Thugs and Harmony, when they were still using the name Bone Enterprise, and were basically still teenagers on the cusp of adulthood. Notably, member Bizzy Bone was only 14 years old at the time of this album's recording. Released on Stony Brook Records, a local record label in Cleveland, the album would be digitally remastered and re-released with new cover art after the group signed to Eazy-E's label, Ruthless Records. This was the first CD that I ever purchased online myself. I couldn't find it in my local independent records or any of my local record stores, so I had to buy it online from CD Baby, cdbaby.com, which was the only place that was selling it at the time. I'm not sure about now, but at that time, that was the only place that had it. and I still have that original copy in my CD collection to this day. I love this album. So many great songs, and it's so cool to see the origins of where Bone Thugs-n-Harmony started out as. Standout songs include Flow Motion, Number One Assassin, Less the 40 Ounce, and my favorite song on the album, Hell Sent. Number 7, Greaves, Together Apart. Now, I've been listening to Greaves since 2010. I remember digging through YouTube and finding the video for his song Unedible and instantly becoming a fan. His soulful approach to the alternative Seattle backpack style of hip-hop really caught my attention. I can remember buying his 2007 debut album Irreversible from his MySpace page in 2010. And that album is an excellent piece of work itself. But it's his 2011 album, Together Apart, released on legendary underground hip-hop label Rhymesayers Entertainment, that in my humble opinion remains his magnum opus and deserves way more recognition than it currently gets. I have this album on CD and vinyl, and the CD packaging folds out into this really cool pop-up design with custom artwork. It's visually a sight to behold. It's the perfect complement to the music. This album has features from Crooked and Rhymesayers veteran Brother Ali, along with primary production from Budo and additional production from Greaves himself. Now, Budo's jazzy instrumentals really elevate Greaves' soul-tinged flows, creating a boastful sonic palette of emotional tunes. Insightful, reflective, contemplative, I highly doubt Greaves will ever craft another album quite as good as this one. Standout tracks include Lightspeed, On the Rocks, Against the Bottom, Tragic, Boogeyman, Heartbreak Hotel, and my two favorite tracks on the album, Blood Poetry and Sunny Side of Hell. The former laden in Budo's magnificent trumpet playing, and the latter containing a sample from Motown legends The Four Tops. Definitely Greaves' best album to date, and one of the best projects to ever be released on Rhymesayers Entertainment. Number 6, Mr. Doctor, Set Trippin' Block Style. Released in November 1995 on Black Market Records, Set Trippin' Block Style was the debut album from Sacramento rapper Mr. Doctor, who was the protege of Brent Lynch Hung. And just like with his own classic albums, 24 Deep, Suicide Note, and Season of Sickness, Lynch produced this album as well. Now, with each instrumental being a perfect fit for Mr. Doctor's smooth delivery and narratives of life in the Sacramento streets as a 29th Street Garden Block Crip, every song on this is a classic, let me tell you. I love it as much today as I did when I first purchased it back at age 15 in 2007. There's even one song called Treat 'Em Like Hoes, where Lynch is featured on the hook. And I laugh when I think about it, but I can remember back in the day, I had one of those freeware ringtone makers on my computer, and I took that song and I made that hook from Lynch into my ringback tone on my old Cricket flip phone that I had back when I was a teenager. And I don't know if folks still use ringback tones these days, I don't know. But for anyone who may not know, unlike ringtones where the music plays on the recipient's end, ringback tones used to actually play on the end for the person calling you, so they could hear whatever music you chose to place there. So I have the hook from Brother Lynch saying, "Now I'm so high off this chronic shit, I bump my head on a helicopter, and I'm not knowing what to tell my doctor. A couple of hits I have you fiending 24th Street dick, I stay high, motherfucker." And I was on probation at the time, and when my probation officer heard that shit, he threw a motherfucking fit like no other. He ended up coming to my house for a surprise visit and tore the damn thing upside down, searching for who knows what. But that's an entirely different story that's neither here nor there. Bottom line is, this album is another West Coast hip-hop classic. Together with the help of Brother Lynch Hung, Mr. Doctor crafted one of the 90s best gangster rap albums. One of the best kept secrets of West Coast hip hop from the 90s. Standout tracks include Block Style, Treat 'Em Like Hoes, Fuck Your Side, The Real Deal, Rollin' with GBC, Fill 'Em Up, and 40 Ounces and Chronic Dice. The last two songs we used to play a lot during parties. This album needs way more recognition. Motherfucking classic. Number 5. Mumbles, Hella Novellas. Released in 2012 through Andre Nicotina's Icon Distribution, this is the debut album, technically labeled a mixtape, from Berkeley, California rapper Mumbles. Now I remember finding this on YouTube when I was listening to a Smoov-E song back in 2013. Through the comments, somebody had posted his name, and I took a chance to go look it up on the off chance that he might sound like Smoov-E, and I was pretty much right. I was completely drawn into his unique style of drugged out, smooth, somewhat narcissistic approach to West Coast hip hop. I wish this album was available in physical format. I really, really do. I would love to have a physical copy of this CD or a collector's vinyl or something. But unfortunately, it's not. But it is available for free download from his Bandcamp page. This album really is hardly known by anyone, and it really should be more recognized. It really should. The production is on point and perfectly complements Mumble's one-of-a-kind lyrics and flow. Now, his style has changed throughout the years, but this album and the two that follow it are amazing for this style. Standout songs include Say Hello, Spellbound, Disposable Darling, I'm an Entertainer, Lawrence Jameson, Piece of My Crumb, Dick for Brains, Glass Graveyard, and my favorite song on the entire album, Overnight Bag. Number 4. Blue in Exile, Below the Heavens. Released in July 2007, this is the debut album from LA rapper Blue and producer Exile. This album is so fucking underrated. I was just having this discussion with some of my collaborators and friends in our collective Champion Sound the other day, and we were talking about how underrated this album was. I can't fathom why I love this project so much, but I guess it's just that damn good. I mean, I bought it on CD and vinyl, and it really should be heard by a lot more folks. The samples and production on this would give early Kanye West a run for his fucking money. Let me tell you, I am serious. Exile is a master of crafting soulful hip-hop beats. I used to watch videos of him remaking some of these beats from this album on his MPC 2000, and it was so inspiring, back when I was learning how to produce myself. And Blue, he just knew exactly what to do with these instrumentals, and he absolutely made the most of every last one of them. Standout tracks include No Greater Love, Show Me the Good Life, Blue Collar Worker, Simply Amazing Steel Blazing, The World Is, I Am Blue, and my two favorites on the album, Dancing in the Rain and Soul Amazing Steel Blazing. I'm sorry, Simply Amazing is not the one with Steel Blazing, it's Soul Amazing Steel Blazing. Simply Amazing is a different song. Both really good songs though. But this album, motherfucking West Coast classic, and a hip-hop classic. Should be way more recognized than it is. Give it a listen. Number 3. Cage, Hell's Winter. Released in September of 2005, this is the sophomore album from Middleton, New York rapper Cage, aka Cage Kennels. When I first heard this back when I was 18, I was captivated by how raw the music was. It's obvious as hell that this guy cut his teeth in the battle rap circuit because he just brings it with the lyrics. His penchant for weaving the dark details of his life into mini narratives within each song is uncanny. Just listen to songs like Too Heavy for Shrubs, where he raps in a style meant to imitate the sensation of being high on heroin, and from the perspective of his father, who was a real-life heroin addict who used to force Cage to shoot him up. Or in the song Stripes, where he tells the story of how he grew up for some time in Germany when his father was stationed there in the military, until his superiors discovered not only his heroin use, but the fact that he was also selling it with the local drug establishment in the area, consequently having him become discharged and, well, dishonorably discharged, and forcing the entire family to move from Germany back to New York. And he tells this story over a chillingly morose production by Blockhead and LP. Now, I would say that this is the East Coast equivalent to Eminem's To Marshall Mathers LP. The parallels in approach, subject matter, sentiment, and top-tier production are right there in the core of the music. And I still believe that this is one of the best underground rap albums to ever come out of New York, along with this next album. Number 2, Camp Lo, Uptown Saturday Night. You want to talk about hip-hop acts that are slept on? Let's talk about motherfucking Camp Lo, the sickest, slickest hip-hop duo to come out of the Empire State. If you go back to the 90s during the golden era of this hip-hop shit, and you take that jazzy boom bap and drape it in 1970s aesthetic, you have Camp Lo's classic debut album, Uptown Saturday Night. This album is so fucking good. I can just start it and play it all the way through from start to finish without skipping even a second of it. It just flows so smoothly, so nicely from one track to the next, with production from the late Trugoy the Dove of De La Soul, and primary production from DJ Ski, aka Ski Beats. This is once again, as I just said a minute ago, in my opinion, one of the best underground hip-hop albums to ever come out of New York State. Standout tracks include Lucchini, Crystal Carrington, Killing Them Softly, Sparkle, Black Connection, Swing, and my 3 favorites on the album, Coolie High, Black Nostalgic, and Spanish Harlem. And number 1, Sadistic, The Balancing Act. Released in May of 2008, this is the debut, and in my opinion, still the best album from Seattle alternative hip-hop artist Sadistic. I came across this album in 2010 at the age of 18, and it completely changed my perspective on what hip-hop music could be. This album is so heavy, and I don't mean heavy like aggressive. I mean heavy like emotionally and atmospherically. It's very much a journey into the dark psyche of a man who is struggling to find a sense of sanity and stability in his clouded life. There's not one bad song on this album. The lyrics are so deeply introspective and morose that you get hooked from the very beginning all the way to the end with no drop in momentum whatsoever. It's literally like taking a journal of someone's deepest, darkest thoughts and experiences and setting it to music. And the unorthodox approach to the production from the likes of Kid Called Computer, Equilibrium, and Emancipator perfectly syncopates with Sadistic's poetic lyrics, creating something truly beautiful that still holds up to this day. I can't tell you how many times I've listened to this album over the last 14 and a half years from front to back. What a goddamn masterpiece of not just hip-hop, but of music in general. This album needs to be heard by the masses. It's like an Edgar Allan Poe story crafted into a rap album. That's the best way I can put it. I have it on CD and 2 limited autograph edition vinyls. One is blue, a blue marble splatter, I do believe, which I framed and I have on my wall in my studio right next to my Frank Sinatra album In the Wee Small Hours. And the other is sitting in my record storage box along with my other highly regarded vinyls. Standout tracks include Ashes to Ashley, featuring Mac Lethal, Searching for Something Beautiful, Absolution, Dawn of the Dead, Memento Mori, Playing God, Murder of Crows, and my 3 favorites on the album: November, Angel Eyes, and The Exception to Everything. And that's it for part 1 of my underrated hip-hop albums list. As I stated in the beginning, this list is not meant to rank these projects in any particular order of quality amongst each other. I just think all of these albums stand toe-to-toe with one another quality-wise, and absolutely recommend every single one of them to everyone out there who happens to be watching this video. Please, folks, check them out and give them a listen. You never know, you may find yourself connecting with something or some of them in a way that you never expected. The artist or the albums, the music, you never know. Just open your mind a little bit. Now, for each genre, I plan on doing these album lists, at least for the genres that I listen to. I'm probably going to do 100 underrated albums in total for each genre, and I'll break them down into lists of 10. So for hip-hop, I still have another 9 parts to go, and I haven't even started with rock, jazz, or soul yet. But for now, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you take time to listen to some of these albums, or at least to some of these artists, if not these albums, but check them out. Of course, if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe, and share this video with others you feel may be interested. Click the bell to be alerted of all new content releases. And if anyone feels comfortable with sharing, please let me know in the comments below what are 10 of your most underrated hip-hop albums. Please let me know. I'm always looking for new music, especially for hip-hop, because it's so scarce these days to find good hip-hop. So please let me know, what's your top 10? Until next time, everyone, be safe, take care of yourselves and each other.